Hello, everybody. Welcome to GLDL Season 2 and my draft analysis for my team, the Ultimate Unburden. Um, really excited to be part of it. I was part of GLDL Season 1 in Superior Division. I ended up making playoff, and I think I was out round 1 from playoff. I might be wrong, but yeah, ended up 7-3, I believe, and losing to Ryan in the playoff. But we are back, and we're here for victory this time. So yeah, um, yeah. This season I've decided to name a Pokemon as Elden Ring bosses. Last season I was using nicknames from characters from the Game of Thrones slash A Song of Ice and Fire's story. But now I have a new love from most recent project from George R. R. Martin, which is the storyline of Elden Ring, and I've played that game a lot in the past month. So yeah, so the nickname this season are going to be about that. So yeah, I ended up getting third pick overall. So I knew right off the bat that I could get a huge pick um, from the beginning. And I was surprised with the starting of the draft. I didn't know it would start. So when I saw that the draft was starting earlier than it should have, Dragapult was already out from the first pick. Otherwise, I would have aimed for that thing, but um, because it was picked before I realized the draft started, I did not plan around that Pokemon. So next two options in my mind were Togekiss or Metagross. Um, and I was debating back and forth between the two, and I didn't have a real plan with Togekiss, so I ended up going with Metagross, and turns out Togekiss was picked right before me as a second pick overall, so good thing I did not plan on using that because I would have get sniped right off the bat. So I got Metagross, which I'm very happy about, and this thing is a menace. We know that Metagross is a pseudo legendary, so it has base 60 overall stat. So it has really, really good stat. Its lowest stat is 70 in speed, which is not even that bad considering it can perform well in either Trick Room or Tailwind. Two options that I have in my team to support my Metagross. High attack stat, high defense stat, good coverage. Like it gets Earthquake, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Rock Slide. I think it has also Brutal Swing if you want to get a slightly less powerful Max Darkness. You have priority with Bullet Punch, and you have the fighting coverage with Brick Break, Body Press, Hammer Harm. With its high defense stat, 130, you can run a pretty effective Iron Defense Body Press set, just like Registeel would do. And yeah, Clear Body is a really good ability for it because um, the way you deal with Metagross, because it's so bulky, you want to hit it with super effective moves. Metagross is weak to both Ghost and Dark, which lowers defense and special defense respectively, and Clear Body prevents that. If, for example, I have a Pokemon next to me and that Pokemon gets Maximum Wind, Metagross won't get the attack drop. It won't get intimidated. If something uses Icy Wind, the speed won't drop. So really cool ability. Um, So the only way to really deal with Metagross massive attack stat is either to boost yourself with iron defenses, which Metagross resists. So yeah, you you get more bulky, but you don't deal damage quite effectively on Metagross. Or you burn it with Will-O-Wisp, but we'll get to that momentarily when we'll talk about Whizzing. So once I had Metagross, I was debating in my head to go back with Tapu Fini, which was such a good Pokemon for me last season. And this season it dropped a tier. It fell from tier 0 to tier 1. So that's the reason why I was debating taking it, because it was cheaper and it was just so good for me. But um, I ended up considering the other option of Misty Terrain, which was Wheezing out of tier 3, which was freeing something out of tier 1 um, other than Tapu Fini, that is. So yeah, so in my mind I was going with Wheezing further down the draft, but I figured I could wait, so I ended up with Latios. And the reason I picked Latios is because in my mind I was going if I knew I was going with Wheezing, Gorian Wheezing that is, I knew that the obvious partner for Wheezing was Regigigas. Um, but I did not want to grab that early on. In fact, I ended up grabbing Regigigas as my very last pick of the draft. So yeah, knowing after my first pick that I was going to grab Whizzing in the wheel, uh, I ended up thinking, is there something else that I need to draft now that is more likely to go out before Whizzing come back to me that I need? And I ended up picking up Ladios because keep in mind I want to use Regigigas as my last pick. Um, Why Ladios? Because Ladios is a budget version of Dragapult, in my opinion, which is a Pokemon I adore, so I'm excited to use Ladios. With Latios, I have Tailwind support, I have a strong offensive output with Draco Meteor. Uh, Very fast, but not super fast, but he's fast enough. Bulky on the special side and okay slash average defense stat. And 90 attack, which might be usable in certain scenario, but the real selling point here is the 130 special attack. And yeah, you get the win support for Metagross. You have Bulldoze to proc a weakness policy, and with Clear Body, you don't get the speed drop, but you lower the opposing team's speed. Um, and you have Simple Beam to go along with Regigigas. So you get rid of Slow Start and you have Simple Beam. And if Regigigas do something like Max Knuckle, Max Steel Spike, the boosts are doubled instead of getting +1, you would get +2. So yeah, that's why I ended up picking up Latios. And with Garion Whizzing, it made a solid fantasy core right off the bat. So yeah, pretty excited about Latios out of tier 1. And next up, I got Whizzing Galar to complete the fantasy core, to get my Misty Surge to block potential Will-O-Wisps or sleep on my Metagross or paralysis, any status. And I also have Neutralizing Gas, which is an obvious ability to go along with Regigigas, but Neutralizing Gas is much more than that. It prevents opposing prankster to be active. If somebody uses Drizzle or Drought, those ability would get cancelled as well. Yeah, so Neutralizing Gas is just all around a good ability, and I'm excited for it. Whizzing, which is nice because you have will wisp option when you don't have misty terrain. You get A's if A's slash clear smog if the opposing team gets too dangerous with their setup. You have taunt to prevent a defensive mon from moving. Wikers. But yeah, you get the deal. Destiny Bound is a nice gimmick as well. But with Metagross being Steel Spite, I can spam some Sludge Waves, which is nice to deal spread damage and potentially break some Focus Sashes. Pain Split is also an option if you want to stay alive longer. So yeah, and Levitate is also usable in certain scenario. If I feel that my duo is too weak to ground, excuse me, I can decide to run Levitate on Whizzing if the situation is good for it. And next up, I ended up going with Rotom Wash. I was originally going with Rotom Heat. Once again, because Rotom Heat was in my team last season, it was my second best kill leader of my team. And yeah, but it got picked like two round before me, so I ended up going with Rotom Wash instead. Um, and I believe it just ended up being better for me because Rotom Wash has only one weakness and it's grass, and so far uh, every one of my pick resists grass. And further down the line, I also have a buttload of grass resistances. And yeah, so what Rodon can do, it pairs well with the ground weaknesses of Weezing and Metagross. And you know the deal with Rodons. You get Electro Web, you get Eerie Impulse, screen support, you get Will-O-Wisp, you get Discharge, Volt Switch. Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna talk about a lot of time about Rodon because we all know what they can do, and they are great. So yeah, really excited about Rodon. Next up, so yeah, this is also a pick that I was considering. I knew that going Metagross and Latios, that I would want something to proc um, weakness policies. So I got a Shadow Sneak user, um, and it's also a Trick Room user that cannot get Fake Out due to his Ghost typing. Um, and yeah, you get Leech Seed, you can be gimmicky with what's the move, Trick or Treat. You add the Ghost type to the opponent's existing typing. Unfortunately, I don't have a great Ghost or Dark type to abuse this move, but it's niche in certain scenario. But yeah, Gorgas is really nice. I really like it as a Trick Room setter, and with Rodon, it builds on my Watergrass Fire Core. Um, what is so nice about Gorgeist is when you draft Gorgeist, you get access to all form of Gorgeist, so you can um, build around Gorgeist stats to be faster if you need it to be. You can go bulkier if you need it to be bulkier this time. So yeah, moving from base 54 speed to base 99 speed is great. Like you can outspeed a lot of things at 99 that you otherwise wouldn't do. And Frisk in draft format is a really good ability because it basically shows you what the opposing team sets are, so you know what to expect right off the bat on the lead. If you see eject button and whatever weakness policy, you know what set the team is running. So that's really nice, and I love Gorgeist. Really excited to use it. Only downside is I was building on dark and ghost weaknesses um, with Latios and Metagross. Um, so far, I had zero ghost resistance and three weaknesses, but I knew I would get a normal type later on. But for the dark typing, I only had Whizzing, so I knew that further down the line, um, I would need to patch those weaknesses. But I ended up going with Toracat first and foremost because it's a cheap, very cheap Incineroar. So you get Intimidate, you get Fake Out, you get Parting Shot, Taunt, Will-O-Wisp. Pretty much all of the support move that Incineroar would run besides Snarl, but it's the trade-off you pay for getting a tier 4 Torracat. Um, it also has, like with Overeat, coming from base 80 special attack, it can um, hit a lot of stuff hard if they are weak to it. With Eviolite, you're relatively bulky. Base 50 is not great with Eviolite, but it's better than nothing. Base 90 speed with Fake Out is pretty great in my opinion. But yeah, I just picked it because I needed a fire type. I needed something bulky to go along with Rotom and Gourgeist to pivot. And yeah, so that's pretty much Torracat. It's a cheap Incineroar. Next up, I ended up going with Ditto. Why Ditto? Because there were a lot of stuff out of Tier 4 that picked up my attention, but I ended up going with Ditto. The reason is because I knew I was going with Regigigas in the end. Having Regigigas whizzing in my team, um, even though I don't bring that combo every week, um, my opponents will have to prep for it regardless, because if they don't, they can just get steamrolled by that thing. So yeah, they have to prep. They have to prep both for Regigigas, um, Metagross, and weakness policy setups with my Gourgeist. So with Dido, it's something else they have to consider, because if they want to set up a Pokemon in front of me, if they want to have an support Pokemon, I can just have Dido and copy them. So if they get to +6 with something on their team, like example ability run Pokemon, I can just come in and copy that. And yeah, so Ditto is not the bulkiest, because you do keep the 48 base HP when you transform, but um, it's okay, I guess. And Ditto is one of my favorite personal Pokemon, so basically this pick is like, fuck it, I'm grabbing it, and they need to consider Ditto coming if they want to run Yube's setup against me. So yeah. Next up, we enter the sadness zone that I call. Why the sadness zone? Because I know I was going with Regigigas as my last pick, so it's 40 points. I already had picked Metagross 60 points, so that's 100 total out of 123 points. So I needed to grab two tier 5s at 10 points each, and the mandatory tier 5 as well. So three tier 5 on the same team, it's pretty bad, but I think I managed to have something useful. I knew I was going to have Skuntank on my team because I wanted a dark type, as I said, to cover dark and ghost weaknesses that I had built along the way. So yeah, but I ended up going with Noctowl first. Why Noctowl? Because I I was looking at my team and was like, I don't have a stab max stream. What's Inter 5 that I can grab that is flying type? And honestly, there wasn't a lot of good option of flying types Inter 5, but there was Noctowl. Not a good option, but an okay option. The stats are trash. Only positive side is the special bulk, which is great. 96 special attack is not something you you want to brag about when you max and go for Earth streams. Tinted Lens is pretty nice. Basically, every resistant move is doubled. So, example, I go for Max Stream on a Steel type. Uh, it still does the neutral damage. So, yeah. Um, and yeah, you have Hurricane, Heat Wave, and I believe Moonblast and Psychic and Shadow Ball as coverage. So, okay coverage, I guess, but nothing amazing and nothing to be happy about. You do have Feather Dance to drop some attacking stat. Hypnosis if you really want to rely on the 60 accuracy, but that's not really my cup of tea. Um, and yeah, so I don't know how much I'm gonna use Noctowl this season, but that's something I guess I have it, and under the right circumstances, it can perform well. But the other tier fives are better in my opinion. Um, Throw is great because it's a fighting type, so it's something super effective against dark types. Base 100 attack is okay, and the bulk at 120 HP and 95 defenses is really great. You get two useful abilities. If I fear intimidate, I can go under focus. I can go guts if I want to go on the offensive side. You get a wide guard, which is something, I guess, but throw is mainly an offensive mon or a fat offensive mon with. Does it get body press? Nah, it doesn't get body press. Stab body press would have been nice with him. Bulk up body press would have been a great combo, but oh well, you don't get body press. I can run some coaching stuff, but with it's abysmal speed tier. Um, don't think I'm gonna use that. But yeah, throw pretty nice. Stab fighting, decent bulk, decent attack. Next up, we have Skuntank. It's a dark type. Another ground weakness, which I don't um, really appreciate, but I prefer having a resistances to dark and ghost than adding another ground weaknesses. So yeah, Aftermath as an ability is nice. If you kill it with a contact move, you loses a quarter of your HP as recoil. Um, Stantec has a lot of option move. You have Sucker Punch to proc weakness policies on Latios and Melagros. You have Ace, which again for setup is great. You have Stab Foul Play, which is really nice. You have Fire Coverage for those handling steel types. You have Play Rough for other dark types. And support moves such as Taunt and I believe Snarl. Yes, you do get Snarl. Okay. Um, Burning Jealousy, which is nice to burn something that wants to set up in my face on turn one. The speed stat is okay. Defenses suck. Attack is alright, but HP is great, so yeah. Nothing amazing with Skuntank, but I think it fits on my team and covers some of our weaknesses. And last but not least, uh, Radan, the Regigigas. which I plan on using from, like I said, turn 2 or 3 when I was going with the Latios and Whizzing combo. I know we get Regigigas, and if Regigigas um, didn't end up falling down the draft to me, I would just have picked up another tier 2. So I wasn't worried that Regigigas would get picked because further down the draft, I was looking at the teams and no other player at the points to draft Weezing out of tier 3, Weezing Kanto, and Regigigas out of tier 3, tier 2, I mean. So, yeah, the more and more the draft went on, the more I knew Regigigas was safe to wait till the end to get. So, yeah, Regigigas is really nice. Like, base 110 in each and every defensive stat is awesome. 100 speed is really great. 160 attack is monstrous. This Pokemon has the same base stat total as Groudon and company. Fortunately, though, they gave it the worst ability possible, which halves the attack and speed for the first 5 turns. But paired with Whizzing, it can work. And you have Stab Big Impact to slow down enemies, which kind of works like a pseudo or string. But the coverage is amazing. Like, you get fire coverage, ground coverage, ice coverage, electric coverage, steel, psychic. I believe dark with Darkest Laureate as well. Yes, you get fighting for um, the attack raise. And like I said, if I get a simple beam off with my Latios on Regigigas, and I go for Max Knuckle and get a +2 in attack, um, I'm pretty much set and good to go for the rest of the game. I believe it gets Iron Defense and Body Press, or just Body Press. Yeah, I don't say Iron Defense, so that's sad. So yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot of support move outside of Wide Guard, which is great. We take those, but as an offensive threat, Regigigas is amazing. Once again, if I can set up a simple beam with Latios, if I can get my neutralizing gas active long enough for Regigigas to steamroll an opponent team. So yeah, that's my draft. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out overall. Ended up going getting every Pokemon I wanted. Like I said, beside Rotom Heat, but Rotom Wash is better. So yeah, that's the thing, guys, and thank you. You might consider subscribing to my channel to stay tuned when I upload my GLDL matches. So yeah, I guess we'll see each other with week 1 match when that comes around. So thank you guys, and see you next time.